A really big, I guess, misunderstanding, perhaps misconception around poly is thinking that the number under which you were married, so the order under which you were married, somehow translates to value, somehow translates to competition, somehow translates to trying to discourage anyone that does not have the label first. What I need you guys to realize is polygamy is an entire lifestyle. This isn't a rationalization so side chicks could be relevant. This is an entire lifestyle where all women that have been committed to by a man have his loyalty, his protection, and his resources. And the women understand this. They are in agreement and they're peaceful and harmonic as a result of the arrangement that has been agreed to. There is no amount of your opinion, no amount of your faith that is going to rearrange what these adults have agreed to. Now, I'm empathetic because a person that enters into an unconventional lifestyle cannot be ignorant to the perception of the world or the perception of others. But it's also true that the individuals that are not living this lifestyle have to be open to the perceptions as well. Case in point, that observing a poly union and you may have some type of discomfort in relationship with observing that playing out does not mean you can take out your triggers on the union. Whereas you may feel as though a marriage certificate is binding and should be unbreakable, that may very well be true according to your faith and your practice. But understand, when you're observing a poly union, that is a different faith, that is a different practice, that is a different commitment to a different system. And you are now projecting your perception of the system that you recognize or you idolize onto a union that does not practice what you practice. In addition, if you are a woman that also holds a marriage certificate, yet you have experienced infidelity, it does not mean that if you observe a poly union where there is a legal wife present, that you get to project onto her that she is insecure or has resorted to living this lifestyle to keep her husband. It is also not okay to project onto the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, or the sixth wife, and so on, that they are in some way in violation of anything, because again, you are holding this union to your outlook. You're holding this union to your trauma. These women, in addition to the quote unquote first wife, it does not mean that they have violated anything. It doesn't mean that they hold less integrity than anybody else. This is also a misconception related to poly. Typically, we look at the quote unquote worst first wife and say, oh my goodness, it's so difficult to allow someone into your world, allow someone into your home. Understand, second wife has to do that. Third wife has to do that. Fourth wife has to do that. Understand that in order to practice polygamy, all wives have to be accepting of the other wives and their children. Not only that, but the observation of the interactions between the other wives and the mutual husband. All of these things are accepted by each individual wife, not just the first wife. So if there's any jealousy, if there's any emotions about that, each woman has to deal with that at one point or another within the union. There is no wife that is exempt from that. A mother may deal with watching her children interact with the other wife and feeling that territorial feeling and wanting to mark her territory. all wives with children in this union will feel that. There's no emotion that is exclusive to only the first wife. Each woman loves this man. Each woman built a legacy with this man. Each woman will covet her children. Each woman will feel lonely at times. Each woman will feel her boundaries stepped over at times. Each woman will have to conquer her emotions and learn how to coexist in a harmonic way and understand that my stuff is my stuff. It's nothing to project onto him. It's nothing to project onto her. And each wife is responsible for their own healing in the same regard. And in that same regard, outside of these poly unions, women who have dealt with infidelity or have been taught that there's only one way to practice a lifestyle and be happy and harmonious also have to do their work with addressing the fact that you are a little bit you're living within tunnel vision, that you won't broaden your horizons to other perspectives and allow other people the space to live as they see fit. You believe that any additional wife has to be in a disrespectful context. So much so, you may be living out a trauma of your own. Perhaps you experienced infidelity. And when you see additional wives, in your mind, the only way this could manifest is if someone was in the wrong, if someone was dishonest, if someone lied, if someone betrayed someone else. And that's not necessarily true. At that point, you are projecting your reality onto someone else's manifestation. And that is not healthy love. In the same way, each wife needs to understand that just because there is a poly union that was agreed to does not mean everything emotionally going on inside of you has something to do with the co-wives or your husband. You have to realize that these unions that exist are not doing anything to you. They're existing and they're living under the constructs and agreements that they agreed to. And that has nothing to do with stepping on your toes and intruding into your life and creating a narrative that you should be so offended by that you give yourself permission to project and be unkind and be negative in nature because you refuse to understand or accept that people are entitled to make decisions outside of your opinion, without your permission, and contrary to what you think is okay or not okay. We are all adults here. And at the end of the day, it's about doing what you see as the best way to manifest happiness and harmony in your own life. It is not about adhering to the will and wants and desires and faith of others. You cannot bind people to your faith. People have different practices. They may be Muslim, they may be spiritual, they may be Christian, whatever they practice. If they want to include polygamy, it's still within their right to do so, whether it's in their doctrine or not. It's not up to you to approve. It's not up to you to condemn. It's not up to you to be excessively opinionated about. Respect the fact that they are an adult and they are entitled to do what they will. Wives can love a man and share him mutually. If that's what they decide to do, they can share resources, love, home, if that's what they decide to do. We have to really pay attention to the idea that, yes, society taught you a way of life, but it will never be the only way of life. If you think so, understand this is not a misunderstanding within members that practice poly. This is a brainwashing of society as a whole. And if you can't make that connection, no disrespect, but you are the problem. Peace.